Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Mark Sell. We're at the training center here in Buffalo, New York, and today is February 23rd, 2022. So today we're going to be talking about pointing, but more specifically we're going to be talking about pointing with the mortar gun, not our traditional pointing that we do with the hawk and slicker. A little bit different style. We have some advantages and some disadvantages to using the mortar gun. Maybe one disadvantage is that the mortar has to be a little bit looser, which may cause some shrink cracks and stuff if we don't make sure that we pack it back in there nice and tightly. We need to make sure that our joints are full. We add more water to the mortar. It has a greater chance to shrink more as it dries and cures and the water evaporates, and would create some shrink cracks in our mortar joints, which is what we're not looking for. Some of the advantages would be that we can get a lot more done in a day than traditional pointing with the hawk and slicker. So that's our objective for today. So we remember what pointing is, right? Pointing is like when we remove about 3/4 of an inch of the external side of some deteriorated mortar. We may be doing 100%. We may be just doing some spot pointing here and there. Either way, we're removing about 3/4 of an inch and then filling it in with some new mortar to make the wall weather tight again. And most importantly, we want to match color, we want to match texture to blend into the existing building.
So can you use different types of mortar in the mortar gun?
You can use different types of mortar. So whenever we're repointing a building, we're going to want to put in some mortar samples for the building owner or an architect to select from. So you would want to try to match the color the best you can. And generally speaking, when we're pointing, we want to use a softer type of mortar, like a 611 mix or a type N. And when I say 611, I mean 6 parts sand, 1 part cement, 1 part lime. It's traditionally, or most of the time, is what we're using for our mortar as far as repointing process goes. Great question, Jessica. Thank you. Remember our tool safety. We're using an electric tool here. This is a cordless tool gun. There's still some moving parts in here, so we need to make sure, tie back long hair, maybe hoodie strings or anything that could get caught in there. And we're using mortar, so we always need to take caution when we're using mortar. Make sure we have on some non-permeable gloves and safety glasses. We really don't want to, get any mortar in our eye. It would burn very badly, and it's abrasive. You could scratch your eye very badly, and mortar could also cause some skin burns from the cement and the lime that's in mortar. So we'll make sure we're wearing our PPE all the time. So now we're getting ready to install, right? We're going to want to make sure we dampen the wall, right, to make sure that the mortar is going to bond properly. And then we're going to start with our bed joints. When we point with the hawk and slicker, we're going to usually go right to left. With the mortar gun, it doesn't matter. We can go left to right. We can do whatever's more comfortable, but regardless, we would want to start with the bed joints and then head joints after. You have a question, Ray?
So when you go to the head joints, how do you properly position the gun?
So when we're pumping out our bed joints, we would have the gun this way. We're always going to want to hold the gun this way, and the tip just rotates for head joints, and we would turn the tip vertically so we can fill in our head joints that way. Does that answer your question, Ray?
Yep.
Thank you. Josh, you have a question?
Yeah, you said earlier that it increases your productivity.
Yes.
Just a guesstimate, how much more can you personally put out a day versus doing it with a hawk and a slicker?
I have found personally that I can probably get about 30, maybe 40 more square feet a day using a mortar gun than I can using a hawk and slicker. It's a lot faster. It's a lot more ergonomically friendly. You're not using your arm the whole time. The mortar is just flowing in for you. It gets a little heavy here and there, but it's a lot easier to pump it in with the mortar gun. Just increases production quite a bit. I think about 30 to 40 square feet a day. Good question, though. So we're going to pump out our bed joints, we're going to pump out our head joints, and then we'll refer back to our striking. Class that we took on how to properly strike joints, right? We'll also start with the bed joints, then head joints, then we'll brush on a 45-degree angle, removing any loose mortar tags and stuff like that. And then we will restrike very quickly. Mitering, we call that. You recall from our other striking and pointing classes. So I think we can explain everything a little bit better when we get out there in the shop. Have any more questions? All right, you guys ready to go out in the shop and give it a shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab our PPE and get out there. Okay, so first thing I'll do for you guys is explain the mortar gun, right? We're attached to a cordless screw gun, right? It's the battery-powered screw gun. There's a hopper. This is where you're going to load the mortar. If you look inside, you see the auger in there. Right, there's an auger in there that'll push the mortar out through the tip. There are some needles here attached to the front of the auger that helps spin the mortar through. On the front of that goes this tip. There's 3 different pieces that go to the tip, right? First thing you do is load in the metal part. Make sure it's seated in there properly. And then we put this plastic sleeve in there, just kind of holds everything in place. And I just kind of like to push it down with my slicker a little bit so it stays in place, right? Then we put the tip on the front of it. And there's a little Allen key that kind of holds it in place so the mortar doesn't build up in there and push the tip right off of the end, because that becomes cumbersome. Okay. Takes a little bit of time sometimes to get it in there properly. There we go. Okay, so very important part. Always need to have a bucket of water with us. Make sure that the gun has been thoroughly rinsed out. The last thing you want is for mortar to get dried up in there and clogged up in there, and we end up pumping out some hard lumps and stuff into our mortar joints, make it unsightly.
So it's like when you throw water on your mortar board first.
Yes.
Before you start working with your mortar, you want to like moisten.
Yeah, we don't want to put mortar in there and then have it stick to the dry plastic.
Okay.
And not be able to push out through the auger.
Right.
So everything's nice and wet in there. We're gonna just take some scoops up with our margin trowel. I wouldn't say load it up so that it's overflowing, but you wanna fill out probably about 3/4 of it away. Is a nice comfortable pace. Another important step is to make sure that after you load it, there's gonna be some water in here, or some residual water, right? And we're gonna pump that into our bucket so that that doesn't get pumped into the wall and make a real unsightly mess running down our wall, right? Okay, so now we're loaded up, we're ready to go. I'll just put this off to the side for a second. Do you guys know why we dampen the wall? You remember why we dampen the wall?
So that it bonds.
Yes, we're looking to ensure a proper bond from our new mortar to the existing bricks and to the backup mortar also, right? And also, it helps this mortar from drying too quickly and cracking too fast. So we pre-dampen our wall. It's an important step. And like I said in the class, we're going to start with some bed joints. You don't want to get behind the gun too much, right? And you'd be pushing mortar out and not getting it back in there all the way. And you don't want to be in front of it too much either. You kind of want to be perpendicular to the wall. And you also need to move with it, right? You need to move with it so you're not getting behind it too much. Pump out a few bed joints. Can you guys see how that's filling all the way up back there?
Yep.
Yep, we're making sure that we're getting it all the way back in there. Then to answer Ray's question, we'll rotate the tip 90 degrees. And I like to go bottom to top on my head joints. So This way I can see them filling up all the way. Usually I do 2, 3, 4 courses maybe, and then fill the head joints up. You want to make sure that they're over full a little bit so that when we pack them back in there and strike them, that we still have a full joint. So sometimes you might take your slicker and make sure that it's pushed in there nice and tight. You can see how it's smushing out top and bottom and not just recessing back in there. That's letting me know that I have a nice full mortar joint. Head joints are full. And then we'll keep pointing until we check for thumbprint hard. And when it's ready to go, we'll strike them. Any questions? Any other questions? No? Who's ready to give it a shot?
I am.
Okay. That's good. We want to make sure this stuff dries for us. Josh likes to go right to left. Nice, good pace. Now that you have 3 courses in, I would do the head joint so everything dries evenly.
Okay, and you said from the bottom to the top. That's how you.
I like going from the bottom to the top. I can see it fill up. I can see the mortar going in there. Beautiful. Nice job.
All right. I'll go next.
All right. Go ahead and load it up.
Yeah, put a little bit more.
Yeah, nice job, Josh. Nice even amount. There's no ins and outs. There's no big snails where you're gonna have high spots and low spots.
You want
Looks
me to
good.
just continue under
Yeah, sure.
where he is?
You can go in any direction you like. It's pretty wet. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good. Very
It
good.
doesn't make a difference going right to left.
Nope, you can start there and go right back. From my view, I saw it all fill up real good. It's nice, even flow there. Looks great.
Try it.
Maybe get it between your legs so you can, yeah, there you go. It's a little stiff on there. Dude, now you want to see how much is in there? Do you want to reload it before you start your head joints?
Yeah.
Think you got enough?
No, it's getting a little lower. in
Yeah.
there.
It just helps increase production. We're already stopped. So we'd add a little bit more as we're,
Right, and that makes sense if you put a little more on there, it'll help pull it down.
Yes,
With
it
a
keeps
little
it-
extra weight on there.
it keeps it flowing through. Good, yes.
Oh.
Okay, so good job, Ray. If you have some areas that weren't quite full, just make sure we want to press these back in here to make sure they're full. And there's enough excess, we can make sure they're full, just so everything dries uniformly and that we have a good uniform look when we're done. If we have some dry spots and we have some low spots and we add some wet mortar later, the mortar is going to dry at a different rate and look it's going to dry with a little bit different color. Okay, so we've checked for thumbprint hard. I think we're ready to go. Our mortar is ready to go. So we're going to be using striking iron, number 81. Going to be using the larger side, the 7/8 side. We'll start with our bed joints. And we're going to long fluid motions, right, rocking back and forth on our foot. Trying to get as much of the wall as we can for production reasons. We'll start with our bed joints. It's coming out nice. See how it's nice and smooth, it's full, no holes. And then we'll hit our head joints. And then we would take our nice soft horsehair brush. We'll brush on a 45, removing any loose mortar and mortar tags along the way. And then we'll quickly miter, and on our miter this time, we'll do head joints first. So we want our bed joints to be nice and full on the last pass through, and we're just removing the brush marks and stuff and making our intersections look nice and tight. And that would be a completed project. Okay, we'll start in the same order we went before, I guess. Josh, you're up. You got your own tool? Perfect. It's good. Good. Nice motion. Just hit this bed joint again. All the way down. There you go. There you go. Nice job, Jessica. All right, nice job, Ray. So very good job, everybody. Do you guys like the mortar gun? Not like the mortar gun? What do you think?
I think it benefits productivity. It
Yes.
seemed like it was way faster.
Yes, it definitely increases production on the job, which makes our employers very happy.
I think it made it a little bit cleaner, you know, the face of the brick aren't smeared at all like happens sometimes as you're, tuck pointing it in, but the mortar's going right in the way the gun's designed, so it's pretty clean.
Excellent, excellent. I agree. It looks very, very clean, very good work. I think any building owner would be happy with the craftsmanship performed here today. How about you, Josh? How do you feel about the gun?
I like it. I think that it definitely puts out more than what I could by hand.
Excellent.
I like it a lot.
Excellent. As far as the craftsmanship here, I think you guys did a great job. Our joints look very smooth, very consistent. There's no ins and outs. There's no big mortar tags left behind. We waited for the proper timing. Everything was thumbprint hard when we went to go strike. So I think that it's going to dry very uniformly, and we're going to come out with a very good finish in the end when the mortar finally cures, fully cures. There's no holes. Everything is consistent. One thing you'd want to keep in mind is as the job is going on, right, eventually there's going to be some stopping points, right? We don't want to see stopping points in our wall when we go to break or at the end of the day and then we continue on the next day. You want to make sure that we have, we blend in new to old very well, making sure that, you can't see a specific difference from one work progress to the next. The striking was very good. The brushing is very good. And I think that when we go to apply some Sure Clean 600 to this, our washing job is going to be very easy because of the good craftsmanship that you guys did. A few little spots maybe. There may be some holes here as it blends into the old stuff. It's first time you guys are trying the mortar gun, so there's expected to be a few little flaws here and there. But all in all, very good job. Very good job. One great thing I like that you guys did was you cleaned up afterwards. A clean job is a happy job, right? A project manager or a building owner comes by and sees everything clean, and they see your wall looking like this, and they would be very happy with the people that they have employed to work for them. It was performed in a very timely manner too. You guys did this very quickly. Did you have something else you wanted to add, Jessica?
Yeah, so if you do end up with like holes in the wall after you're done striking, would you go back with just like a regular tuck pointer and try to fill it in a little bit? Cause
You really want to make sure that you get it the first time around, because if you come back later with just a little striking iron and some mortar and just touch up spots, it's just going to be a thin layer of mortar over top, and it's going to dry differently. It's not going to dry in a uniform look and texture.
Right.
And you know, you would see little light or white spots, right? Especially if we had to add some mortar color. If say we were going with a red, and then you put just a little bit on there, it's going to dry pink, right? It's not going to dry like a full depth red, like what we would be looking for. Yeah. So, great question. Great question. Thanks for answering.
I have
Thanks.
a question of historical work. Would you
Sure.
use a grout gun or a mortar gun for historical work?
Sure, you could. Yeah. I mean, so if it's a historical job, it might have some job specs. And, you know, as long as there's no verbiage in the specs about not having a mortar gun, I don't really see why you wouldn't be able to. We're still putting in the same material. We're still going to mix the way we were asked to mix, and we're still going to be performing to the quality craftsmanship that they're expecting us to. Good question. Thank you. Did you have another question,
I
Ray?
was just gonna say, I think if I were to do it again, I would probably go right to left. It just seems easier to walk backwards and hold something steady as opposed to walking forward. Like I seen Josh do it, and it just seemed way more fluent.
Seem more natural?
Yeah.
Good. 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 Yeah, you can. I don't really know that there's an advantage or disadvantage to going left to right or right to left, other than comfort level.
Yeah.
And if you notice, Jessica, she went left to right and then right to left as she was going. She's saving even more time from more steps that she's eliminating along the way.
Yeah.
All right, I think you guys did a great job today. Thank you for helping out, and I hope to see you on the job soon, performing pointing operation with a mortar gun.
Thank you.
Thank you.